Hi guys, it's Jessica Nicole Dickerson aka JND and I'm coming at you with another video. Today we're going to talk about talent agencies. Wait. Coffee break because my coffee's getting cold. This video is going to help you with what is a talent agency, how do you find talent agencies, what should you know before meeting a talent agency. Okay, so I'm going to start off with types of agencies, so you should really be aware of what type of talent agencies are out there because there are some that'll help you and then some that don't. Technically, you don't need a talent agency to help you along in your acting career, but it is a good asset to have sometimes. I got my role of Jurassic World through a talent agency, so it's good to be aware of them and what kind of status they have. Also, I will leave my stories for all the agencies that I've been a part of towards the end, so information in the front, stories in the end. Maybe it'll help me blabber less. So the first type is a boutique styled talent agency. This is a very small talent agency that has maybe 1 to 4 agents working for them and maybe 100 clients to 130 clients. So you're not going to get a lot of individual time with them, and they also may not be as well known. They may be smaller, they might have fewer connections in the industry. It does not mean boutique talent agencies aren't good. It just means they're a little bit smaller. The next one is a bi-coastal talent agency. So this is one that is based in LA and in New York, so bi-coastal on both coasts. A bi-coastal agency will have a little bit more influence than a boutique one because they're more well known. They have more offices, so they have more influence when it comes to casting directors and other directors too. So it may be a little bit better, but a little bit harder to get into. They expect a little bit more. Then we have the medium-sized talent agencies that can have from those 200 to like 1,000 clients being actors. And then there's like the A-lister talent agencies that are like CAA, Monster, all those big ones that have like celebrities on it. The thing to know about those is that you can't really apply to those while having a minimal resume. Those are agencies that like to see you as an actor, that your growth and your popularity grow, and then they'll pick you up. So those guys won't help you start a career. So if you are a beginner actor, I suggest starting with a boutique, or if you could, a bi-coastal talent agency, because those are going to be ones that are going to be more helpful because they have fewer numbers and they can help you more and they can help with influence. But you still have to be careful which agencies you choose. Now let's get into what you should know before you go into a talent agency, what the basics are of a talent agency. So a talent agency you can do for commercial work, you can do theater work, you could do modeling for talent agency. And what you should know is that you should never pay for a talent agency. The only way they get paid is if you get work, which is great because you know what? That means they have help. They have to do their job. It's important. Another good thing about talent agencies is that they're licensed by the state. So all their contracts, they can't say, oh, you know, my firm changed the rule last year, blah, blah. No, they are licensed by the state. They have certain, like a code of conduct that they have to follow. These are the really crucial ones that I've come to learn about talent agencies. Is the fact that you should have a relationship. Oh, lighting's changing. Natural light, ooh, fun. What you should know about talent agencies is that it's supposed to be a relationship. You're supposed to go in and go like, this is my goal in life, and they should be able to talk to you and be reasonable. Like say if you want to do something, like I want to be in the next Riverdale. For me, that's reasonable. I'm of the age, I am of the look, and a talent agent should go, oh, okay, we'll see what we can do. It's not like I'm going in saying, I want to be Meryl Streep, you know, like maybe in 40 years and when I have talent, sure. But you know, like you and your agent should be on the same line. They should be sending you to auditions that'll help you build the career you want. It should be a relationship. And of course, for these smaller agencies like boutiques and for bi-coastals, I feel like they have to really work with you because you don't have a resume. So you have to maybe challenge yourself to do things you don't want. Well, that's what I've come to experience and learn. Maybe it's different for others. I hope so. I would like to think that we all get the auditions we'd like, but sometimes you don't. Especially if you don't have a resume, you gotta do the projects that you may not want to do, but hopefully they are still safe and you would want to do them. I'm not saying that you should do something you're not comfortable with doing ever. If you want to say no, you're allowed to. Your agent can't make you be a nudist when you don't want to be, okay? But you may not be in Riverdale for your next audition, if that makes sense. And another really important thing I've learned is that your talent agency shouldn't be struggling with you. I found that a lot of talent agencies, they don't know what they're doing. They're hoping you have a resume and a headshot and they just send in information and they'll send you a ton of auditions and then hope you get a job. They should talk to you about, okay, well, this is your image, this is what you want to do. Okay, now I'm gonna send you to auditions that match these roles, and maybe some that don't, but they may in the future. Like, we like this director, you know, like there's a plan, and that you're allowed to be in that plan too. My experience with talent agencies is that they don't communicate that much, that I have had to be the one to ask them questions, and I really respect talent agencies that are able to answer those questions. Never be scared to ask your questions. There are no stupid questions. There are people joining the acting industry in the late 80s or late 20s, or, you know, as babies. So it's not fair to make the assumption that everyone knows what they're doing, because it's not true. Ask the questions you really need to ask. Another thing to know about talent agencies is that it's a business relationship. When you go to talk to a talent agency, remember that it's basically a job interview. They want to see, are you polite? Are you respectful? Do you have intellectual like conversations about yourself and your goals? You can't go in and go, I want to be famous. I mean, you can dress more casual, but you should still present yourself like you do in auditions. Like, you want to be hired. This is a job interview. You don't have to wear a suit and tie, but you better smell like shampoo. You get me? You feel me? And lastly, the talent agencies are going to definitely want you to sign a contract. So that's normally a year contract, but maybe with a 90-day see if you like me, you can drop me in 90 days if you don't kind of clause in their contract, which is good. The 90-day clause allows you to see if you have a good relationship, if you're allowed to share your concerns, if they share their concerns with you, and things like that. But they're gonna want to make you sign a contract, so make sure that you only sign a contract if you really want to. If you're in a meeting and you just meet these people and they seem fishy to you and you're like, I'm not too sure, you don't have to sign the paper. They might try and pressure you. I don't know, I've been pressured. So they might try and pressure you into signing it. You do not have to sign it if you don't want to. You do what you need to do. Boo. It's really important to remember that the agencies want your success. So if they're not sending you to auditions all the time, you might have to start looking for another talent agency. It's just like that. You don't want to spend a year on a contract with someone who isn't helping you. You want to be building your resume. So those are the basics of a talent agency. Just key, don't pay them before you get any work. Key, you don't need to pay for any talent agencies. Remember that. Note that down. And simply how to find them is really easy, actually. You just have to do some research. Go online, read some reviews, do some heavy-duty research online about what do you think of this, or what are the best talent agencies that are in Texas or California or wherever you're located. It's as easy as that to find them. And then what might be the harder part is that submitting your material being your headshot and your resume. For beginners, if you don't really have a resume, you can still apply to these agencies and they might meet with you, but they might not sign you. If you're coming into the interview and you don't seem prepared and you haven't done your research and you don't really know what your goals are, make sure you figure out your goals and get your resume and headshot ready to send to the agency and have an honest discussion about them. And maybe you can, after a year of trying and working by yourself, you can reapply. It's as simple as that. And you can submit most of the time online. So just make sure you do your research. And also talk to people. We have social media, so talk to people you know who've been in certain agencies, see how they feel about them. So you might have noticed that the framing might have changed just a little bit. It's because my battery was gonna die and I had to charge it. So now that you know a little bit more about agencies, I want to tell you about my experiences with agencies. I think it's really important to share our personal experiences because that's how we're gonna learn in this industry. We're gonna learn together. Ooh, my first agency I signed up with is when I was in Hawaii and I was in middle school, and this is when the real urge of acting kicked me in the face and I'm like, I want to act. But I took an acting class and I signed up for this agency, and next thing you know, it dwindled, it died. I went to high school, I did cheer and track and ROTC, and I kind of went to the back burner. And then my junior year, I got called to do Jurassic World. I was really supposed to be an extra, but they liked me and they moved me forward, and next thing you know, people see me and they recognize me, and I get messages from friends saying, hey, I saw you, and it's exciting. But the problem with that agency really was that I got that one job out of being with them for 6 years, which you should know shouldn't be the case. I'm lucky I didn't really notice, and like, it just happened. The Jurassic World thing happened. So I think that's more so luck than agency. I don't think the agency really helped me get that job. It shouldn't take 6 years to get one project. Make sure you have an agency that actually has you getting jobs. So then when I moved to LA and I wanted to do more acting, I contacted this boutique, or maybe he contacted me, but I went to a meeting with him, and I was very interested in finding an agent because I didn't know LA very well. I didn't know the works of everything, and luckily I went to this agent because he gave me a list of 9 things to do before I could sign with him. And he had this whole like, you have to do this by this date, and I really appreciated that. He gave me 3 months to collect all my materials, which was basically a new headshot, new resume, demo reels, websites, actors accounts on Actors Access and LA Casting. And it was really resourceful, except for a few things that I was kind of like, wait, you want me to do what? I mean, what? Like a press release I think he wanted me to write? And I was confused, and I would email him, and this was like maybe not even 2 days after we met, and he didn't respond for like a month. And I was like, that's disheartening. We're trying to build a relationship and you're not helping me. And his message that wasn't helpful back. So I'm emailing him back and forth, and 2 months later, and I met some of the deadlines. He hasn't asked me about the deadlines because he gave me a list with dates. He hasn't asked me if I completed anything. He hasn't checked. He isn't responding to my emails, and suddenly after those 2 months he goes, okay, I'm ready to sign you, please come down to the office and sign the contract. And I go, this feels funny. So you want me to do all these things, but you're not going to check if I do them, and you're not going to check the quality of them. So it sounds like you're rushing to get people to get the best material they can, even if it's not everything, and just sign your contract and do your best. To me, that sounds like an agency that is also struggling. So you don't want a struggling actor match with a struggling agency. And by the way, I'm not mentioning these agencies' names just because I don't want that karma on me, that bad karma. I'm not going to bash any agencies. I've left anonymous reviews on their accounts, but I don't want to bash them openly, like just say, oh, she's a bad person, oh, he was so annoying. No, I'm strictly business. These are my experiences, and I hope you can take and learn from them when you see this happening with you and any other agency, because there's a lot of agencies out there, and you have to be careful with which one you choose. Nextly, which was the most interesting experience I've had of late when it comes to agencies, was the third agent that, or technically second agent that I signed with, third that I experienced. So how this agency did it was that they had a casting call, and they asked all of us to read some sides, and they picked from the lot, and they picked 7 of us, me included, and a friend I always keep in contact with. We talk about agencies and acting together, which is also a good thing to know. Get those people's numbers. If you have signed a contract in a group, get their numbers so you can talk and see how the relationship's going with other people too, and see, is it just you, what's happening. It helps. But we both signed this contract with this talent agency, and at first I was getting a lot of auditions, but then I started to realize that the quality of the audition was not up to par. Again, as I said earlier, I'm not expecting to get on Riverdale tomorrow, or why do I keep saying Riverdale? Any show that's really popular right now. My goal is the CW or Freeform. Obviously, I am biased, or Marvel, but that's really out of my network of stuff. They were sending me to a lot of paddle casting calls where there's a lot of people. Like, I'd have to wait in line. There's hundreds of us, and we literally have to read 1 line, and he's just basically picking who he knows personally, and it's a waste of time. So I had a couple of those, and then I had a couple of shifty, scammy auditions. If you watched my audition horror stories, then you would know 2 of those were from the agent that I'm talking about now. They were shady, they weren't legitimate, so I started to question the legitimacy of this. Are you just sending me to whatever and hope to collect change? Because these are also jobs that are very low budget. Spec commercials, I imagine, are very low budget because they don't have a lot of money to offer, which I don't mind low budget. I don't mind low budget, but the talent agency strictly said that we're not doing student films or spec commercials or anything low budget because we're trying to upgrade your resume. And the talent agency just spoke so highly of, we're going to try and get you some legitimate jobs so your resume is impressive. And these auditions that I was sent to were not. And on top of that, the agency itself had this policy that if you miss an audition, you were fired on the spot. I'm like, okay, I won't miss an audition, that's fine. Okay, this is back when I lived in OC, so I was in the Orange County area, Newport, and I had to travel up to like LA or Hollywood, or those little areas that have all the auditions in it. So it was a 2-hour ordeal, and I don't have a car, I don't have my license. How am I going to do this? My parents were lucky enough to drive me to the train station. I drove to the train station, got into the LAX kind of train station place, I forget what it's called, and Ubered to the audition, and then after 2 minutes of the audition, I'd Uber back, train all the way down. I spent like, and then food included, because this is a ordeal, 2 hours up, an hour finding it, coming back down. That's like 5 hours. I have to eat. So the auditions were super expensive. And then one day I told the agency, hey, I don't have money to get on a train and go up there. Is it okay if I miss this one? Or I actually think I asked, hey, can I film my self-tape tonight and send it in? I know those can be helpful. What can I do? I have zero money in my bank account. And they went, you're not taking your job seriously. Do you think you can make it to the audition tomorrow? Because that is the only way I'm keeping you as a client right now. And I went, I have no money, I have no resources, I can't go. And they went, I'm sorry to let you go because you don't take your job serious. I get it, some actors make excuses and say, you know, oh, my car broke down, I don't feel like going. Like, I completely understand wanting to not have that happen frequently and having like maybe a 3 warning system after going to a string of not great auditions and spending so much money on new heads, invested so much into all those auditions going up in general, that I was just kind of like, I don't know, I don't have the money, I can't do this. Either I'm not in the right place right now, but I definitely take my job seriously. Do that with your talent agency. They should respect when you have other commitments that are serious. If I go to 20 of your auditions that you sent me to, no matter the cost, without complaining, like, that makes sense. But then I miss one because I can't make it. You're gonna sway your opinion on that one versus the 20. The only good thing that came out of this experience is that she forced me to really invest in myself. They gave me tools. They told me things that I didn't know, like about headshots, told me how to formulate my, you know, resume better. They really helped me and they were hands-on, and that's why I really liked them in the beginning. But that beginning console meeting, it needs to keep that attitude of respect. Right now, I'm with a talent agency. I believe it's still a boutique agency, the one I'm with now. I won't say exactly which talent agency I'm with now either. I'm still balancing, trying to figure out if it's good or not. Right now, I like it for where I am now because they let me self-submit myself, and that's how I get most of my auditions, through Actors Access. So I've taken a break, but I was with them for maybe a month, and they sent me to 1 audition, which I can't complain about, but we'll see, because I want to see if when I go back in August, if I'll get more auditions. But I don't also want to mess with school, because school is where I'm training to be a good actor. And I just want an agency to kind of understand that. Be like, I need to train and be good and confident and comfortable with myself to do well on auditions, so I don't want to miss school. Of course, I'm willing to miss a class or 2, but like every single day, and if the auditions aren't great and they're all like cattle calls, back off. I will definitely update you on how it turns out, if I leave them, if I stay with them, all the updates, because I got you, boo. We in this together. We are going to make it. That is all I have for today's video. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you learned something. I hope you like this color, because this shirt, I like the color of this shirt. So I hope you like this video. Make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any questions or concerns. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. I'm gonna start getting into that in 1 moment after I charge my charger. Dead. Yeah. Gotta quicker. But oh, the world is against me. That's a great sentence, Jazz. Oh my god.